make them whisk by each other between the legs, as I'm walking.
Yeah, that heavy canvas.
Yes, that canvas stuff. And so I'm trying to be quiet, and so I'm moving real slow, and I end up getting approximately somewhere between 20 to 25 foot. I'm estimating before I got to them, and as I got to them, I'm sitting there looking at these things, and I'm like, oh my god, am I really seeing this? I'm like, these aren't deer. They were looking. They had their backs to me, okay, both of them, and there was two of them, and they were gray and white in color, and they were approximately 7 foot tall. And this is when they're kind of standing up and slightly hunched over. And they had was looking out across towards the neighbor's side as I had snuck up on them, and I don't know how I did that. I mean, I really, honest to God, it had to have been God, I guess. Wanted me to see these things, maybe. I don't know, but I'm looking at them, and I go to kind of slapping and pinching my face kind of quietly. I still don't want them to notice me yet. And I'm like, am I really seeing this? Am I dreaming this?
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I wasn't drinking or anything like that. We were going to church pretty hot and heavy and stuff, even doing Wednesday night services.
Yep.
I was really, I don't know what you'd say, crossing my T's, dot my I's, so to speak, but you know what I mean?
Sure.
And we
Absolutely.
play by grace, no matter how good you try to act, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Uh, so I'm praying again. I'm like, God, what are these things? And it's like the only way I could describe it was like a werewolf or dogman, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm looking at them, and the one on the left, all of a sudden, I saw the ears kind of twitching, moving. They can kind of move their ears a little bit in the direction where maybe they think they hear something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the nose, they stuck the one on the left stuck his nose straight up in there and went to sniffing. And then as he did, he kind of turned over to the left and then kind of turned back to the right. He's trying to find out. I know he's getting my scent.
Right.
And so the thing turns all the way around to the left, and then boom, he looks at me. And then the one on that's standing to the right of it, like all of a sudden looks at him or her. I don't know if it's male or female, but looks
Right.
at him, and it's like there wasn't a sound made between the two, but it's almost as if they had telepathy or something. It was weird to watch, but the one looked at this one like, "What are you looking at?"
Yeah.
And so it's like, so it turns and looks at me. It's like, "Oh, you're looking at him." And they both kind of had this startled look, like, can he really see us? And I'm looking at them. Are you really real?
Yeah.
And my curiosity at that time had overridden my fear, so I took three more steps forward, and I don't know why. I know it's stupid, but at the time, my mind wasn't working right because I'm in shock, but I'm also in awe of what I'm looking at. And I should have probably been really scared then, but now I'm just in awe that, man, these things really do exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I take three more steps forward. Well, then all of a sudden, they drop their heads down about 3 foot or so, and the ears folded straight back as if to say, "Okay, fella, that's close enough."
And how close were you at that time? 3 steps forward.
3 steps forward, I'm going to say I was probably somewhere in the area of around somewhere probably between 15, 18 foot or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
I could see the whites in their eye. I know they had brown eyes. I can tell you that. I saw that much.
That's close.
Yes, it was close. But like my uncle said that last time, that first time I was scared, real scared, and then creeped out, But
Sure.
this time was different. And I don't know what the difference is, except the only thing I can tell you is before all this happened, back when I was in my younger 20s working at a construction job there in Carthage, I had made a friend with one of the lead carpenters up there. And at the time, I was like a helper.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the second or third construction job I had. And anyway, we got to talking about things, and he was friends with like he said like an elder, I think is what he called him. But it's basically an old Indian man, and then he had, I guess, some younger people under. I don't know if it's family members or what, but I want to say he said they were Cherokee. Or I think he said Cherokee, and we got to talk about things. He was talking about werewolves and stuff and being able to change and stuff. Not him in particular, but this old man could. He said that the other guys that were younger than him that were in that, I don't know if you want to call them tribe or what, but they'd meet up like once a month, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. And he said they couldn't change unless it was like certain things going on. I don't know if it was with the moon or a certain time of the month of the year. I don't know what the recipe was for them. But he said the old man could change at will when he wanted to. And I said, "Are you serious?" I thought he was messing with me. And I kind of laughed, and I saw the look on his face. It's like it hurt his feelings, and at the same time, kind of ticked him off too.
Yeah.
I said, "Man, I didn't mean to offend you. Nothing. Are you being serious with me?" And he said, "Yes." He said, "I really am." He said, he said, "I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you the truth." And kind of like my uncle said, you don't really say this stuff to just anybody. And I guess he really felt like a confidant, with me.
Sure.
And so I was kind of took back with that. I said, "Well, man," and I apologized to him. I said, "Look, man, I'm sorry." I said, "I didn't mean to make fun or laugh." I said, "I just had never seen anything like that yet,
Yeah. Or even heard of
So,
that.
yes. And so he was like, "Well," he's like, "would you like to come see for yourself?" And then it kind of scared me. I was like, "Well, I don't know if I do or not." He said, "Well, first," he said, "I can't just do that." He said, "I got to talk to the elder first and then go from there." So, a week or so goes by and I see him again out there working. He said, "Well, I talked to the elder and he said that if you wanted to come, as long as you came by yourself, you could come and you could watch, when we meet up again.
Yeah.
And you could watch, one or two of them change out there." And I was like, "Man, are you serious?" And so, he's like, "Yes." He said, "I'm very, very serious." And he said, the elder said that he felt like, I don't know what he meant when he said he felt, but he said he felt like you had like a pure spirit, which I know in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if you only knew the things I did in my life, And anyway, but he just said that to me, and I thought, well, okay. So I just kind of went along with it. And he's like, the elder said, if you want to come and watch, you can. Okay. He said, we're going to meet at such time next month. And if you want, I'll meet you somewhere. You can follow me out there, And I guess they had a little shack out in the woods somewhere on one of them's property somewhere, elder. And so anyway, I'm like, well, I'll think about it. And I said, I'm kind of nervous about it now. Now that I see you're serious and everything, I said, man, you got me really, really kind of freaked out a little bit, but I believe you. And so I'm going to say about a month or so goes by because, we're all moving around as we're working, building this. I see him again about a month later, and he's like, hey, man, did you think about it? And I'm like, yeah. I said, I just don't know about going through seeing that. I said, I believe you, man. I said, I'm even getting goosebumps when just talking about it, And he's like, yeah. He said, I kind of get that. He said, I was scared too at first, but now that I know that, it's okay and they're not going to hurt me, He said, I have much respect though, and I said, I'd imagine. So he said, but the elder wanted to know if you'd like to at least see one sometime, like if you don't want to come out there now, if you'd like to see one in live. And so if he comes back and says, hey, he said that, you will see one. He said, maybe two. I said, really? He said, but he didn't know when, but sometime in your lifetime it will happen. And so I I had forgotten about all this. Years have went by since
okay.
then. Years have went by. And so up to the point, even when I saw the first one in Oklahoma where I was actually freaked out, it's not registered. I'm not even thinking about that yet. But after this one that I'm talking about here, which I've had, let's see, next night, at least two more, I think, in between the one and Tatum here that I'm talking about that actually come after that one. So, and Tatum, it actually registered after like a month or so after Thanksgiving, like sometime maybe right after Christmas.
Okay.
It registered, and I thought, oh yeah, I remember talking to that guy, and that was back in 1994.